Learning new vocabulary is essential if we want to improve our English. But it's not always that easy. For example, where do we start? What new words do we even learn? How many words should we learn every day? Once we've learnt those words, how do we remember them and start using them? Well, the key is you need to learn 100 words every single day. Of course, that is most certainly not true. It's actually a lot more simple than that. So as always, welcome back to GSL English. My name is Gideon and I'm here to help you speak natural, fluent and confident English. Now, we know that vocabulary is one of the biggest parts of the English language. And improving our vocabulary, learning new words will improve all areas of our English. Writing, reading, listening, speaking. Basically, if we want to keep on progressing and improving our English, we always want to keep on learning new words. So let's look at some ways that we can not only learn new vocabulary, but remember it and start using it. So point number one is to improve your vocabulary. Can you see that I put the emphasis on your vocabulary? Isn't it true that we are all individual? We are all different, and that's what makes humans amazing. And the reality is, we all answer questions and we all speak in different ways. That is what makes communication so interesting and enjoyable. We're all different. For example, let's take some everyday questions that will generally be asked in many English conversations. For example, how are you? How are you? Now, what word would you use within your answer of that question? A word that I most commonly use, and it is one of the most commonly used words in the English language, is good. Good. I use that word all the time. How are you? Oh, I'm good, thanks. How are you? Now, there is nothing wrong with that word at all. Sometimes it's perfect. We can use that word, but we can take that word and we can expand upon it. That word gives us our starting point of where to learn new vocabulary. So, to learn new vocabulary, first, identify words that you most commonly use. So we're just going to focus on that word good as an example. So let's say that we have identified that we use that word all the time. There's nothing wrong with it, but we want to build and improve that word. So let's think of some alternatives. Now, that word good can mean a variety of different things, can't it? It can mean just okay, or it can mean really good. So let's imagine that we have had an amazing day. We've had a really enjoyable day. Just saying that I've had a good day doesn't really express that. So we can think of synonyms that would really put across the kind of day that we've had. Maybe it's excellent, fantastic, amazing, brilliant. There's just some options. So now we've taken a word that we most commonly use and we've expanded upon it. It's personal to us. You want to improve your personal vocabulary because by doing this, you are building a vocabulary that is yours. You're not using words that other people have told you to use or words that we feel will make us sound really intelligent. No, we're improving our own vocabulary around our personality, around who we are and the way that we would answer questions. And this helps us to build that natural and fluent and helps us to speak more confidently in English. So I want you to think about that. Improve your vocabulary. So I have a task for you. Over the next week, try to identify words that you use more than others. Maybe it's certain adjectives: good, bad, cold, hot. Basically, just write down words that you're always using. Now you've got your starting point. You've got your own personal starting point. And I want you to take those words and look for alternatives. Look for synonyms. Look for other words we could use instead. But make it personal to you. Improve your vocabulary. And again, that just helps you to build a more authentic and natural base for your vocabulary. But thinking about that point leads us nicely onto the second tip that I have for you. And that is, don't remove words. I can't stress this enough. Please don't take away words from your vocabulary. Now, there are a lot of lessons, particularly on social media, which say, don't say this, stop saying this. Well, I don't want you to think like that. Rather, I want you to think about adding to your vocabulary. Add to what you already have. As an illustration, I want you to think about this. Now, I used to be a builder. That is someone that is in construction, building and working on houses. Now, when I first started, I bought my first set of tools, and tools are what we use to complete a job. Over the years, though, you realise that you need new tools and more advanced tools. Now, once I buy or bought a new tool, that doesn't mean I would throw away and never use the old ones. No, they would still have a purpose from time to time, but I would just build my collection of tools. I want you to think of learning vocabulary like that. Build upon what you already have. So, as you find more advanced alternatives, or perhaps words that are more fitting for the situation, that doesn't mean we throw away the old words that we've learned. No, we keep them, we use them from time to time, but we build upon what we already have. And going back to step one, once we've identified the words that we commonly use, once we've got alternatives, that doesn't mean we throw those words away. No, we just build upon it. And as we do this over the weeks, months, and years as we learn English, we build this solid foundation of vocabulary because we've never removed any words. So that is more of an approach that I want you to think about. Don't remove words from your vocabulary. Always add to what you already have. Okay, tip number 3 is to learn vocabulary from all angles. Okay, what do I mean by this? Well, how many times have you sat down to learn vocabulary, written down the word, written down the definition, written down a sentence, and then moved on to the next word? This is a great technique, and I do encourage this. Writing with a pen and paper is proven to assist memory and help us to remember the words that we are studying. But that's one angle to look at that vocabulary. I want you to look at it from all angles. Why not spend some time focusing on the pronunciation of that word and understanding why it is pronounced a certain way? A brilliant way of doing this is by understanding and learning the International Phonetic Alphabet chart, as you can see on the screen here. Take a word and then look at how it should be pronounced. Listen to how it should be pronounced. Practice it. Practice that word in a sentence, in context. Approach that word from all different angles. Think about how you would use that word in your life. Go back a month and think, I could have used that word in this situation, in that situation, to describe this or that. But don't just approach learning vocabulary from one angle, which is word and definition. approach it from all angles. Pronunciation, context, give it as much chance to stay in our brains as possible. And speaking out loud is one way of doing that. So that's tip number 3, I think. Rather than just focusing on the word itself, focus on pronunciation. Listen to the word, practice saying it, practice using it in context, but approach learning vocabulary from all angles. Tip number 4. This is a really important one, and I think you will know that I like to preach this form of learning, and that is quality over quantity. Okay? Quality over quantity. Learning 50 new words a day, reading a dictionary of 50 words is not the best use of your time. You might come away with some new words, but really you're wasting a lot of that time because there's no way you are going to learn 50 words each day. So I want you to break that down and focus on quality over the quantity of how many words you're learning. We can do this by focusing on just a few words. For example, going back to step 1, maybe we identified a word that we could find alternatives for. Okay, so once we've found those alternatives, for that week, maybe there's 3 or 4 alternatives. We just focus on those. We don't look at any others for that week. Okay, we're not taking in hundreds of words. It really doesn't matter. There's no fast track to learning vocabulary, but we want our learning to be solid. We want it to create a strong foundation, and that happens over time. So focus on the quality of the words that you are learning. Take 4 words, for example, and study them every day. Use those 4 words. Look at them from all angles. Every day, practice their pronunciation. Practice using them. Think about different contexts that you could use those 4 words. And you are much more likely, by the end of the week, to have remembered those 4 words because they've encompassed all of your thoughts. You're not taking in 20, 30, 40 words every day. Just focus on those 4 words, which, okay, it's not as many words as you might like, but over time, if you do this, you'll start to realize that your vocabulary is building, but on a really strong level. It's not surface level. So that's what I want you to think about. Really dive in to less words. Expand upon less. Focus on quality over quantity. Repeating this process will honestly help you to build a nice and strong foundation of English vocabulary. So the last 2 points we are going to look at is how we can remember the words that we have learned. The first way we can do this is quite an obvious one, but don't underestimate the power of it, and that is to use those words. Using those words will definitely help us to remember them because we apply them to situations in our lives. We give those words context. Now, if this is in a conversation with somebody else, that is fantastic. Absolutely brilliant and really well done. But the reality is, a lot of times, perhaps we don't get to talk to people in English. Particularly if we are in a non-English speaking country, perhaps those opportunities don't come up. This doesn't mean we can't still use these new words. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Crazy, I know, but present yourself a question that you can use the new word and answer it. So talk to yourself in the mirror and practice using that new vocabulary to answer that question and record yourself. Listen back. How did you use that word? Did it make sense? Another way we can use these words is by Another way we can use and remember these words is by flashcards. Write the word on one side of a piece of card, the definition on the other, and you pick the card out and then you try using it, or you say the definition, or you say the word, whatever process, but speaking out loud, using these words in whatever form will help you to remember and just log those words in your brain. So I encourage you to include that within your week of studying vocabulary. Don't just write and read. Use them Even if it's just at home, walking around the house, use the word. Literally, say it out loud, say it in a random sentence, but the more you use it, you are creating the necessary connection to remember it. And the last point I want you to think about to help you learn and remember new vocabulary is repetition. Don't just look at some words once, then forget about them. I want you to get in the habit of reviewing these words as much as you can. So imagine that we have a week ahead and we've got 4 new words that we want to think about, even 3 new words. Write them on your phone so that they are constantly accessible. Get in the habit of repeating these words or looking at them as often as we can, even when we are away from our desk. Because sometimes we can think, right, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to study some vocabulary now, which is brilliant. But if we can just think about these words when we're going about our daily lives, what a great way of remembering them. For example, let's imagine that we're getting a coffee. Well, we can open up our phone and just look at those 4 words. Think about them. Churn them over in your brain. Maybe you're on your way to work. Think about those new words. How could you apply them to what you are seeing? If you're at home doing the cooking, say those words out loud. Try using them in a sentence. Just talk to yourself out loud using those words, but repeat them every single day. Once isn't enough. And let's imagine that you've been doing this for a few weeks now and you get a month ahead. Well, go back to the words you were looking at a month ago. Maybe make that as a couple of days of your study routine where you review vocabulary you've already looked at. But repetition is key if you want to remember these words. It's actually essential. But that doesn't just have to be when we sit down and study. Just when we're going about our daily lives, think about those words and play them over in our minds. And basically, we're just fusing them, burning them into our brain. And by doing that, we will remember and start using those new words. So there you go. There's just some tips that I wanted to share with you about learning new vocabulary. It's not about learning 100, 200 words every week. Stop doing that. And it's not about removing words that are considered basic. Not at all. Just build upon what you already have and enjoy it. You know, if you want to learn a good vocabulary, it takes time. So don't put so much pressure on yourself. Just enjoy it. Learn a few words here and there throughout the week and focus on those words. It's about quality, not quantity. And if we do this consistently, our vocabulary will definitely improve. But more importantly, we'll remember those words and we'll start using them. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. Have a good one, guys.